We had zero urgency all first half, so it couldn't have got any worse. And that's what I said to them. I asked them if they wanted to be on the field, because they didn't look like they did. And then just said, well, go out there and see what you can do in 40 minutes, basically.
And welcome back to another bone-crunching, pace-injecting, kick-chasing, tritastic ruckfest. That is, of course, the Women's Rugby Show.
And hopefully we're going to get all that today, right?
Exactly. So thank you for pressing play. We hope you are, of course, in for a treat today, where we can bring you a mix of interviews with fans and, of course, the players, managers, coaching staff, but most importantly, a jam-packed episode of rugby action.
Tasty, tasty. Right, you should know by now, I'm Adam Zolty, and I am delighted to say that standing next to me, Bex Chaplin, you are back.
I'm back, Adam. I'm back and raring to go.
Where were you?
Oh, God, covering other sports, unfortunately.
Well, we missed you. We missed you.
And you were cold in that game.
I was cold. I'm a little bit cold today.
I know.
But we are here. We have got, as you said, hopefully a cracking game. We are here at the Richmond Athletic Ground for a match between the uninspiring yet reliable Richmond against the exciting yet not quite reached their potential Gloucester-Hartpury. We have got a really, really good show for you coming up, if I don't mind saying so myself.
Very.
But before we get into that, you know what's going to happen. What we need you to do. Number 1.
Like the video.
Number 2.
Subscribe to our channel.
Number 3.
Follow us across social media. The accounts are below.
And most importantly, number 4.
Tell everyone about the Women's Rugby Show. Tell your parents, your friends, your family, people you don't even like about the Women's Rugby Show. We're here to shine a light on women's rugby. There are fans across the world, and we want to help increase the exposure of such an exciting women's sport.
Absolutely. It won't be able to grow without your support. So, right, now that that's out of the way, let's preview today's game. So, two sides. Richmond, what are we expecting?
Yeah. Sitting 7th in the table. I believe it's won 5, drawn none, and lost a whopping 10 this season, actually, Adam. And I do believe they lost to Gloucester and Hartpury last time they met earlier in the Premiership. Unfortunately, last weekend they had an absolute thrashing at the hands of Harlequins.
Yeah, it wasn't good.
Yeah, not good. But I think this is the problem with Richmond, that they're very good in teams below them in the table, but struggle with the big teams at the top of the table, and they just can't quite step up to that next level. Unfortunately, Richmond are missing a couple of key players today. They're without both of their first choice wingers, without the captain, and without Anna Kaplis.
So he's like their talisman.
Exactly. Yeah. So it could throw everything into chaos. I'm hoping it doesn't. But there are, of course, some great players that we do need to watch out for. So we've got Capo to watch out for. Powerhouse.
Yeah, definitely in the forwards.
Yes, definitely. England international Burnfield.
Yeah, also in the forwards.
Yeah, and the ever reliable Wong.
Yeah, Jade Wong in centre. Yeah, she's a friend of the show.
Yes, indeed.
Brilliant. Okay, so all right. Well, that's the home team, the hosts.
Yeah.
I'll be looking at Gloucester. So Gloucester, they currently sit 5th in the Tyrrell Premier 15s. I can never get that right.
Yeah, I never get it right.
It's all right. In the Premier 15s, they could potentially go into 4th today. Now we know that at time of filming yesterday, Wasps lost to Harlequins, which means that if Gloucester win today by a bonus point and they win by 30 clear points, they will leapfrog Wasps into 4th in the table.
And is that doable, do you think, Adam?
Oh, absolutely today. It's going to be slightly difficult because there are a lot of internationals missing for both sides today because of the Six Nations. But these are one of these sides who you kind of don't really know what you're going to get with Gloucester. Sometimes they can be sensational. Sometimes they just really can't get to that next level, and it all depends the kind of players that they're missing today. They've got a lot of internationals that are missing, but looking at the positives, they do have some absolute quality in their side. So the likes of Tatyana Hurd, England international, obviously, she scored a great try last weekend. Kerry Large is their captain at fly half, and in the forwards they've got the likes of Sian Williams and Shauna Powell-Hughes. So they have got talent, they've got the potential, and they really can make a difference today. So with that said,
go on, I know what you're going to do.
I'm going to put you on the spot first. Who do you think is going to win it? Both sides are lacking international players.
So, I would normally probably go for the home advantage with Richmond, but judging by their recent performances, obviously including the thrashing last weekend, I'm actually going to go Gloucester-Hartpury today. What about you, Anthony?
Yeah, I don't think you can go past Gloucester. I think they've got too much talent, too much firepower. Richmond, as we've seen, can be a bit hit and miss.
Yeah.
And I think that not only are Gloucester going to win today, we've seen them out practicing a little bit earlier. We're going to go film them in a bit. They are looking hungry. They will win by over 30 points and they're going to get their bonus point and they're going to leapfrog Wasps.
Wow, big claim, Adam. Big claim. So we'll see how it gets on.
Cool, right.
Shall we go and find out from the fans?
Let's go, come on. Tammy and Jeff, thank you very much for speaking with us.
No problem.
So I take it by your colour scheme, certainly with Jeff anyway, you are Gloucester-Hartpury fans.
Absolutely, definitely Gloucester-Hartpury fans, yes.
And have you travelled today to come and see the ladies play?
Yes.
All the way from Gloucester, or I think you were saying earlier that...
Our home is Lichfield, so we went from Lichfield to stay with Tammy last night in Didcot, and then we've driven down from Didcot this morning.
Is there anyone specifically you're here to see play?
My daughter's playing, actually in both games, and
my daughter is returning from injury today, so she's been injured since October, so it's her first one out since October.
So your daughter must be
Courtney. Yeah.
Okay, and your daughter is?
Sarah Nicholas.
How long will she be out for now?
Since October. Yeah.
And how's that affected her, I guess, watching the side? Because they've done quite well so far this season.
Yeah, they've done really well, especially last weekend, which was amazing. If anything, she's always loved rugby, always been very passionate. If anything, it's made her more hungry. So this week, knowing that she can get back on the pitch, when she passed every stage of return to play, she just got ridiculously excited and she can't wait to get out there. So
brilliant.
Yeah.
And she's keeping sort of company by Sarah. Obviously, Sarah's on the bench.
Sarah's on the bench for both games today, yeah.
Both
absolutely.
games.
Yeah,
Do you think she'll get quite a bit of game time?
Should do. Between the two games, they tend to even out the number of minutes played, so she'll play one way or the other.
And have you followed her throughout the season?
Absolutely, yes. We go everywhere with Tammy and her husband as well, so we travel wherever the rugby's been played.
Brilliant. Well, listen, Gloucester have had they've not had a bad season. They're pushing for that playoff place. They can get there today if they score a bonus point and a bonus point win today. Do you think they can do it?
Absolutely. I mean, as the season's gone on, I think they've got better and better. They've had one or two injuries, Courtney being one of those. But I think generally speaking, as the season's gone on, they got better and better. So we're hopeful, certainly.
There's
they can do it.
I guess there's been almost a bit of a Jekyll and Hyde side to Gloucester, because you've got the talent, absolutely, but there have obviously been certain games, obviously like last week against Saracens, where it just hasn't really gone that way. That's what it's felt like.
I think last week, the team absolutely stepped up and played amazing. They were missing some key players. Zoe Aldercroft, for example, was injured. And to be honest, and I did speak to the coaches, I was really nervous about last week, and I thought it was an amazing game, and they were just unlucky not to get that final try. So I think if they play like they did last week, they could beat easy. So
yeah, and they did better.
Playoffs.
They did better last week than they did last season against Saracens. So that's a step in the right direction. Still a little way to go, but as I said, everything's improving. So.
Well, you say it's just a little way to go. I mean, there's only sort of 2 or 3 games left really of the season. It's kind of odd having the Six Nations right in the middle, but we won't get into that.
No.
Can this side make the playoffs this year?
It's down to who's on the pitch, who comes back from the Six Nations injury free, and who can rock up on the match between them and Wasps. That's going to be the deciding match, I think, unless something crazy happens with the Quins match, or I think Wasps have Bristol, and with one of those matches that it could come down to and I think they're playing at King's Home, aren't they? The Wasps match.
Yeah.
So I think that'd be really good and really spread the girls on. But it's just whoever's there on the day fit and ready to play.
And I think on the day they could beat anybody.
Yeah.
It's just a question, as Tammy says, of making sure that they've got the best possible team on the pitch and they put it together when they need to put it together.
All right, what about today then? How are they going to get on today?
We're hopeful today. Obviously, there's a few international players missing. So it's a bit of a change round in the team. I don't know how Richmond have been affected. I haven't seen their team yet, but we would certainly hope that, with the players that they brought in, they've got a very good chance today.
So now on to the visitors. As we've said, they've got a whole host of internationals missing, including the likes of Carice Hale, Kelsey Jones, Bethan Lewis, Hannah Jones, Zoe Aldcroft, Natasha Hunt, or even Kelly Smith. As we know, Tatyana Hurd is available at number 12, and there's a welcome return for second row Courtney Gill after a long injury layoff. She's been out since October. Elsewhere, Bethany Randall gets her first start in a Gloucester-Hartpury shirt as she steps in to replace Kelly Smith on the wing. Some big boots to fill there. And finally, we've been told to look out for Caitlin Simpson. She's also been excelling in the development team and has been called up to the main squad this week.
There are some big names out for the home side, whether they're injured like Rachel Lakaratuba, Emily Helgreen and captain Vicky Jackson, or they're away representing their country like Anna Kaplis and Alicia McComish. But head coach Jonathan Griffin still has a lot to choose from. He's got Laura Capo, Sian Hobday and Grace Moore coming back into a strong-looking pack, with Libby Povey and Claire Felt adding to a strong back row. In the backs, we have Emily Stone, Tess Baranova on the wings, and with the rest of the line looking the same as their last game. Keep an eye out for new Danish signing Julie Gessing in the centre, and we also have Fiona McIntosh and Courtney Treco returning to the squad, but today they only make the bench for Richmond. Tatyana, not quite the result we expected today. Why do you think things went wrong for Gloucester-Hartpury?
I think we weren't very urgent from the off, really. The first half didn't go as well as we'd planned, and we wanted to, get good score down up to the half time. But we just weren't very urgent. We didn't have very quick ball. we needed to be a lot more clinical in the breakdown and keeping our own ball. So that was a bit of a shame, really. But the girls put in a really good performance in the second half and really stepped it up. So that's what we needed.
Yeah, it really was a tale of two halves, wasn't it? What was said in the changing room to make you come out like fighting in the second half today?
Well, we all knew we needed to be a lot more urgent, and that was just echoed in the change rooms. And everybody just kind of had to have a think about what they needed to put in, and people really stepped up their game in the second half. So that's what we wanted, really.
Okay, great. So what does that mean now for your side after the Six Nation break?
Well, we've got a lot of opportunity now. The next 5 weeks we've got no games, so we're just going to have to get a lot of work in training, and probably a lot of breakdown stuff and urgency work around that. So I think we're going to have the same kind of goals after the Six Nations, and to try and get bonus point wins. But we're just going to have to be a lot more clinical.
And still hopeful of a playoff place?
I'm not really sure what that makes it now, but if we can do that, then that's what we want to do.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
So, Susie, not quite the result that you'd hoped for today. You were going into the game and probably we were all expecting a win from it. Give me your final thoughts on what you thought happened at the end of the game to result in a draw.
Well, the damage was done by them in the first half, really. You can't go 3 tries to 1 into the changing room and not come out and have an absolute blistering second half. So we did come out, we performed better in the second half. The bench made a real difference. But then, we go into the front and we kick the ball back at them. And we talked all day, we're not a kicking side, and we had opportunities then to move the ball, and that's how we perform at our best. So we're just poor decisions. But at the end of the game, I'd have to look at the footage. 2 yellow cards, I don't agree with them, but he's the ref, isn't he? He's the man in the middle, so, that's
And
life.
do you think that affected, the team? Because 2 yellows is quite a big decision, isn't it? And do you think the mentality, heads were dropped after that, or?
Well, I think it was just a case of survival then, because, as I said, we'd done the damage to ourselves. They hadn't inflicted it upon us. Too many errors, too many poor decisions to give them the ball back. And any team in this league is going to punish you, and they did. Got a fantastic line out, which we know. So everything that they have, all the strengths they have, we played into their hands. And then we come out with a draw, which is probably not going to be enough in our battle for the 4th position.
And how frustrating for you after yesterday's result that you could have been in that position.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we could still get there. We'd have to beat Wasps at King's home, which should be home advantage. And then we've got to do something at Quins away, which is going to be huge. So, the hopes are still there, but the more frustrating thing is the lack of performance, because we've been building, played well against Sarries last week, and then you hope to build and we don't. So, frustrating, really.
But did you notice a real difference in your side? They seemed to come out hungrier in the second half. Was it because of the scoreline, or was it a team talk that you said, there's more of a sense of urgency in the second half?
Well, we had zero urgency all first half, so it couldn't have got any worse. And that's what I said to them. I asked them if they wanted to be on the field, because they didn't look like they did, and then just said, well, go out there and see what you can do in 40 minutes, basically. And we scored 21 points in the second half, but it proved to not be enough to get the win.
Not quite, yeah. So, with the Six Nations break, have you got anything planned to come back and change the dynamic of things, or do you just want a bit more urgency from the start of the games?
Yeah, well, we can't. It's like we were still on the bus for the whole first half. So you need to. It's the mindset of Richmond are much lower in the table to us. So, Sarries are top of the table. So last week, playing against the top side and coming here to Richmond away, which is a real challenge, and playing against a side that are much lower in the table, you have to go onto the field with the same mindset. It's not who's in front of you, it's the fact that you wear the Gloucester-Hartpury shirt and you have the dog in you and the fight in you, and you make good decisions on the field. That's what it is. We haven't become a poor side overnight. We just put a poor performance on the field, which happens. So Six Nations break. Well, we'll obviously lose quite a few to international duty, which is brilliant for them and brilliant for the club. But it was just said in the changing room there, what we have to do now is the next, however many weeks it is grow as a team and a side, and be ready to take on Wasps when they come to Kingsholm.
Yeah, so a big game to come back to.
Yeah. It'd be exciting. You know, we haven't played there this season. We were due to, and then, you know, we ended up not getting the first one. So we'll play them, and then we'll go to the Stoop. So 2 massive games to finish on, and opportunities to finish the season on a real high, whatever happens.
Yeah, and as you were saying, you guys seem to play a different style of rugby when you're playing, you know, teams in the top 4. So do you feel like you could come out and play that style of rugby then in these next 2 big games?
Absolutely. We can play. We can play like that any day of the week. You know, we miss Kelly. Kells is the top try scorer in the Tyrrells. Outstanding player. We miss Zoe, who's our captain. But we can't rely on them. You know, we have to be able to play as a, you know, there's 60 players in our club. So you need to be able to play, you know, the same style of rugby and have the same impact on games, no matter who's on the field. So, yeah, but we're totally capable of being brilliant in the next 2 games. But we shall see.
Thank you.
So, Sean, congratulations.
Thank you.
Well, I say congratulations. I know it was a draw. Does it feel like a victory?
I'm not sure. Well, at the end of the game, no one seemed to really know what happened and what the score was, if it was all over. But, I mean, we're pleased to come away with some points from the game. It's better than a loss. But, yeah, so not too bad, but not the best it could have been either.
You were probably, and maybe you would agree with this, you were probably expected to be the underdogs today. Mm-hmm. You came out flying in the first half, and you really put Gloucester on the back foot. What was the game plan really for today?
We were really focused on this game all week. We knew our prep had to be better, and coming off after a huge loss last week, we knew we just had to pull it out of the bag. We had to be better. We have that performance in us. We trained so hard Tuesday and Thursday, and we just had to bring it out today. We were keen for the forwards to keep it tight, have a bit of a run with it, get our hands on the ball, and keep it tight. That seemed to work for us.
You had a forward out there who scored a back's try, Laura Capo. What is it like playing with Capo?
Capo, is she a back, is she a forward? She's the best utility player ever. You can put her anywhere on the pitch and she's awesome. She's absolutely outstanding to play with. She's always there for the offload, and she just seems to keep running and doesn't seem to stop very easily, which is great. So I'm very happy she's on my team.
I'm sure. Second half, you came out and it was a different story. Mm-hmm. How frustrated do you think you were as a team that you couldn't really put those final points on the board and lock it up?
Yeah, it is frustrating. We try to sort of regroup and reset, but yeah, I mean, Gloucester, I think we're pretty evenly matched. They're a good side. They're well. They've got some good structure, obviously with their backs. Really good pace and power out there. So they managed to use them pretty well. But I think our defence was pretty good in the second half. But yeah, just a few of those slipped through, which was just unlucky. But, yeah.
Richmond is known for being really good against the sides below them,
mm-hmm.
not so strong against the sides above them. But saying that, in the last couple of weeks, you've beaten Bristol, you've drawn with Gloucester. What is the potential for this side? Like, how frustrating is it for you to know that you can pull out those big performances against those big teams, but just not be consistent throughout the course of the season?
It is really frustrating because we know we have it in us, and we do demonstrate that on occasion. So for us, it really is like keeping that consistency for the 80 minutes week in, week out. As I say, we train so hard for it on Tuesday and Thursdays in the gym as well. So it has been a frustrating season from that sense, but I think we are really building, and the only way's up, up from here.
Is it odd to have 4 or 5 weeks off now because of the Six Nations?
Yes, it's sort of looking at my calendar now for the next month or so. It's just a bit like, I have no rugby weekends, but we'll take the break, but we'll keep training, keep working hard, ready to come back. I think it's Bristol when we come back to make sure we don't lose the momentum that we've got from this block.
What do you do? How do you keep sharp?
We take a little bit of a rest, but mentally refocus, kind of step away, but come back. We know we want to put in performance against Bristol and Loughborough, finish the season on a high, and to do that we have to be training really hard, doing all that S&C work, not let our fitness slip, not let all the hard work that we've put in so far, all the way from pre-season back in June, July last year, not let that go to waste in this time, just keep ourselves motivated. We're a team, we want to play rugby, we love it. So
You've only got 2 games left now, really. You can't go much higher in the table, you can't go much lower really in the table, so what is your aim now for the rest of the season?
yeah, the table aside, we want to win those last 2 games. Yeah, it might not affect making top 4, but we have a lot of pride at this club and we want to do well for ourselves and we want to put in those performances. So yeah, we want to finish on a high.
Brilliant. Well, listen, thank you very much, and hopefully see you soon.
Yeah, thanks.
Right, we did say it was going to be a cracking episode, and
It delivered.
it was a cracking episode. Didn't really expect that result, did we?
Absolutely not. We were totally off the mark.
Yeah, I didn't call it, you didn't call it. Not very often that you get a draw in rugby, and
No.
not between 2 sides that you would probably expect the result to go one way.
Yeah, definitely. Unexpected result, and both unexpected leads taken in both halves. It was definitely a tale of 2 halves, wasn't it?
Yeah, it definitely was, and I think one team will certainly be a lot happier than another team.
Do you think it feels more like a victory for Richmond than it would do, obviously, for Gloucester?
It does a little bit. I have to say, it does feel a bit like an empty match. You know, we're leaving now for the Six Nations, and there's not a lot of Prem rugby for the next sort of 4 or 5 weeks, and to end on that kind of game seems a little bit harsh.
Yeah.
You know, a couple of yellow cards, kind of scrappy.
From both teams, it was scrappy from both, wasn't it? Like simple errors, like too many dropped balls.
Yeah, wasn't great. But look, anyway, as always, it was a pleasure to record this episode. There's another match going on behind us, the 2 development sides from both. So we're going to go and watch that. But before we do, you know what we're going to say. So, yeah, look, please make sure that you like this episode. Subscribe to our channel. It means that when we drop another episode, you'll be the first to know. Follow us on social media.
At Women's Rugby Show.
Correct. And finally, most importantly, Bex, what should they all do?
Tell your friends, your family, your dog, anyone and everyone about Women's Rugby Show and about women's rugby in general.
Absolutely. Well, look, I think before we go, it's important that we say goodbye to my co-presenter, Bex. You are off to Australia.
Warmer climates at the moment.
Yeah, I can understand why, actually. But listen, it's been great to have you as part of the show.
Yeah, so much fun.
Hopefully this is farewell, but not goodbye.
Yes. Bon voyage.
Bon voyage. And before you go, who's your pick for the Six Nations?
England. Definitely England.
Brilliant.
Can I call one for you yet?
No, not yet. We will try and get some footage. Hopefully, we'll drop some more episodes over the next coming weeks. Just because there's a gap in the Tyrrell Premier 15s doesn't mean that there's going to be a gap with this show. So fingers crossed. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. Bex, thank you for being involved. And for me, it's goodbye.
From me, it's bon voyage.
See you soon.
See you soon.
Bye.